Okay, so we're going to look at multiplying fractions today, and I'm Miss Sebastian. So the first thing we're going to do is make both of these improper fractions. So 3 times 3 is 9, plus 1 is 10. Leave the denominator. And 6 times 2 is 12, plus the 1 on top is 13 over 6. So now all you have to do to multiply is multiply straight across the top. So 10 times 13, and that's 130 over 3 times 6, which is 18. I see both of these are divisible by 2, so I need to simplify. Okay, and it's 65 over 9. That's not in a mixed number form or proper form. So I'm going to say 9 goes into 65. 7 times, that's 63 with 2 left over. So my answer is 7 2/9. Okay, this next one, first thing I've got to do is write it in improper form. 7 times 2 is 14, plus 3 is 17, times 1 3/4, which is 4 times 1 is 4, plus 3 is 7 over 4. Now I'm going to show you something cool. If you are trying to simplify before you multiply, you can say, okay, do I see any of these that can be simplified before I multiply? And I see a 7 on bottom and a 7 on top that will simplify to 1, 7 divided by 7, when we multiply. So I can actually cancel those out and simplify or divide them out to 1. So now when I multiply across the top, 17 times 1, I get 17. 1 times 4 is 4. So now all I have to do is turn it back into proper form. 4 goes into 17 4 times, because 4 times 4 is 16, with 1 left over. Okay, number 3. 1/2 is already in its improper form, okay, or its proper form. It's already simplified. And this one, I'm going to say 8 times 4 is 32, plus 3 is 35 over 8. Now, there's nothing that can cancel or simplify, so I'm just going to multiply across. 35 times 1 is 35. 2 times 8 is 16. So 16 can go into 35. 2 times, that'll be 32. 35 minus 32 is 3 left over the denominator. Number 4, I've got to change this to an improper fraction. 4 times 6 is 24, plus 1 is 25. Okay, now I do see that my 4s, 4 divided by 4 is 1, and 5 divided by 5 is 1. 25 divided by 5 is 5. So now when I multiply, 5 times 1 is 5 over 1, and I can just simplify that to 5. Okay, on number 5, you have 4 2/5 times 3 4/7. So I'm going to change this one to an improper fraction first. So 5 times 4 is 20, plus 2 is 22. 3 4/7. So you're going to say 7 times 3 is 21, plus 4 is 25 over 7. So I'm going to look for anything I can simplify, and I do see that 25 over 5 can be simplified to 5 over 1. And now I can just multiply across. 22 times 5 is 110, and 1 times 7 is 7. So now 7 goes into 11. 1 time, with 4 left over. 7 goes into 40. 5 times, that's 35, with 5 left over. And put it over the denominator. Number 6, I'm going to rewrite this one as an improper fraction. 4 times 7 is 28, plus 3 is 31. Times 7/8. Okay, I look for anything I can simplify, and I don't see anything. So then I'm going to do 7 times 31, which would be 217, divided by 8 times 4, which is 32. So 32 can go into 217. Six times. Now if this one's too big, you can always go 32 into 217. And you do 6 times. 6 times 2 is 12. Carry a 1. When you subtract, you do get, let's see, oh sorry, 25. So you've got 6 and 25 over 32. Now let's look at number 7. We've got 7/10 times 4/9. I look and see what I can simplify. I see that 4 and 10 can both be divided by 2. So now I can just multiply across. 7 times 2 is 14, and 5 times 9 is 45. Okay, let's look at number 8. Mira ran 3/4 of the way around an 1/8 of a mile track. How far did she run? So we're going to multiply these. 3/4 times 1/8. So multiply across the top. 3 times 1 and 4 times 8. So she ran 3 30-seconds of a mile. Number 9. Grant cuts a ribbon into 6 5 3/4 inch pieces. How long was the original piece of ribbon? So the first thing I need to do is change this 5 3/4 to an improper fraction. 4 times 5 is 20, plus 3 is 23, over 4, times 6. And I'm just going to put it over 1, so I've got a placeholder there. I do see that I can simplify this to 2 and 3 by dividing both of these by 2. So now when I multiply, I get 69 over 2, 23 times 3, and then 2 times 1. 2 can go into 6 3 times. 2 can go into 9 4 times with 1 left over. So that piece was 34 1/2 inches. Okay, number 10. Luha divides the pizza she orders for her party and puts them on 8 tables. She puts 2 3/4 pizzas on each table. How many pizzas did she order? So we've got 2 3/4. I'm going to change that to an improper fraction. 4 times 2 is 8, plus 3 is 11. And she had 8 tables, or 8 over 1. The first thing I want to look at is see if I can simplify. Whoops. These can both be divided by 4, so that's actually going to be 1. 8 divided by 4 is 2. Multiply straight across the top. 11 times 2 is 22. 1 times 1 is 1. So she ordered 22 pizzas. Number 11. Sharifa cuts a piece of string into 8 4 5/8 inch pieces. How long was the original piece of string? So I'm going to turn this into an improper fraction. 8 times 4 is 32, plus 5 is 37, over 8 times 8 pieces. So I look for anything that I can simplify. I see that these both have a factor of 8. So I'm left with 1. 37 times 1 is 37, over 1 times 1, which is 1. So my answer would be 37 inches. Okay, number 12. 5/7 times 3/5 in simplest form. So the thing I look for is anything that has a common factor, which is 5. And so I multiply across the top. 1 times 3 is 3. 7 times 1 is 7. So I've got my answer. Okay, number 13. James had 4/5 of a quart of milk. He drank 1/3 of it. How much did he drink? So I'm going to say 4/5 times 1/3. Because there are no common factors here, I just multiply across. 4 times 1 is 4. 5 times 3 is 15. So he drank 4/15 of a quart. Okay. The distance from the library to the park is 2 4/5 miles. Elizabeth has traveled 1/7 of the way. How far did she travel? So I'm going to change 2 4/5 to an improper fraction. 5 times 2 is 10 plus 4 is 14. I look and see and I say I can divide 7 by 7 and get 1. 14 by 7 and get 2. Now I just multiply across. 2 times 1 is 2. 5 times 1 is 5. So she has gone 2/5 of a mile. Okay, now we've got number 15. Colin has 2½ pounds of almonds. He gave an eighth of the almonds to his friend. How many pounds did he give to his friend? So I'm going to change 2½ to a mixed number. An improper fraction. 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5, times 1/8. So I'm just going to multiply across the top. 5 times 1 is 5, and 2 times 8 is 16. So he gave them 5/16 of a pound.